This week on Christian World News, President Trump pulls out of the summit with North Korea. Why did he do it? And how can he bring Kim Jong Un back to the table?
Plus, get a look at the Dead Sea Scrolls in a way you've never seen them before. See how these ancient scrolls are still revealing secrets from 2,000 years ago.
The song Amazing Grace is sung in churches worldwide. Meet the man behind the song and find out how he changed the course of history. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Christian World News. I'm George Thomas.
And I'm Wendy Griffith.
North Korea appears to be changing its tone after President Trump canceled the Singapore summit. A North Korean official says they're still willing to meet with the United States.
Well, the president decided to pull out of the summit after signs of bad faith from the North Koreans. As Jennifer Wishon reports, now it's a game of wait and see.
A bold move by President Trump, a letter to Kim Jong Un canceling the leader's planned nuclear summit. He surprised the world, but the Trump administration saw it coming for days.
North Korea has the opportunity to end decades of poverty and oppression by following the path of denuclearization and joining the community of nations.
After Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's meeting with Kim that resulted in the release of 3 American prisoners, the North Koreans failed to keep their promises.
It's not about the deal. It's about the outcome. Right? It's about achieving this permanent physical change and transformation that will have the opportunity to change the world.
After Trump's announcement, North Korea seemed to change its tone. A top official saying the Kim regime is open-minded in giving time and opportunity to the U.S. But for now, the Trump administration is continuing its maximum pressure campaign, crippling economic sanctions meant to force concessions out of a country already facing financial despair. But in these hours following the president's letter, Harry Kazianis with the Center for National Interest says he fears the North will return to testing missiles.
God forbid, if the North Koreans test a missile in the next couple of days and there's a malfunction, the missile lands in Seoul or in Japan or over Guam, we could be at war, and that type of war would involve millions of people dead.
Time, he says, isn't on Kim's side, as his people are more exposed to influences from the world outside North Korea. They may learn there's a better way.
That's what happens when you actually get in on these situations. You start to give people hope. Something can be different. They start to press for it.
A senior White House official says the ball is now in North Korea's court.
If and when Kim Jong Un chooses to engage in constructive dialogue and actions, I am waiting.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, the White House.
Thank you, Jennifer. And while all of this is playing out, let's continue to pray for the believers in North Korea who continue to suffer for their faith, that hopefully God will release them and give them the freedom that they so desperately need.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
All right, moving on. Christians in North Korea, as I mentioned, they are jailed and tortured for their faith, but it's just one of many nations where the church is under fire. Religious freedom advocates want to know why believers in the West aren't doing more for those who suffer for following Jesus. My colleague Paul Strand has that story.
Christians of all stripes came to this summit asking why don't believers do more to help their persecuted brothers and sisters around the globe. They hit at Christians in the first world living cushy lives with little thought for those under attack overseas.
We cannot claim Christ only to form our lives around the comforts and the conveniences of the modern Western life without paying mind to the injustice of the Christian persecution that we see around the world.
The keynote speaker pointed out Jesus told Saul of Tarsus that Saul was attacking Christ when he attacked Christians.
When people persecute Christians, they're really persecuting who? Jesus. In the same way, when we care for the persecuted, we're really caring for Jesus. And that's why Jesus said, whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it to me.
Spudo said he was once considering how much money to donate to starving Christians in Nigeria.
And the Lord whispered something into my heart that I don't believe I'll ever forget. He said, that's me. I'm hungry. And I'm waiting and watching to see who loves me and will give me something to eat.
Longtime defender of religious freedom, Frank Wolf, knocked believers' willful silence.
The church in the West can never say it does not know what is taking place in Iraq or the Middle East today. And Dr. Martin Luther King, to quote him again, said, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends."
Wolf then had a warning for America's Christians.
If the church slumbers, Washington will scarcely lead the way.
Sam Brownback is America's new ambassador at large for international religious freedom.
There's more persecution going on now than a number of authorities have said than any time in the history where we've had recorded history.
But he said governments that persecute believers ignore studies showing their nations will be less successful and more troubled.
If you want less terrorism, you need more religious freedom. If you want more economic growth, you need more religious freedom.
Just remember, we're here today because Jesus is still being persecuted through his children. And how we respond to them is really our response to Jesus.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
That's good. Well, imagine wasting away in a Pakistani prison for nothing more than defending your Christian faith. That happened to Asiya Bibi. This June, the Pakistani mother will have spent 9 years in prison on blasphemy charges. She still faces possible execution, but has one more shot at justice. Wilson Chowdhury of the British Pakistani Christians Association talked to our Gary Lane about reports that Pakistani's High Court may soon hear Asiya's appeal.
Well, no dates have been set yet, and how soon is now. When you're dealing with the Pakistani legal court system, justice system, you're talking about periods between 6 to 1 year would be described as short. So it's very hard to say. But my indications would suggest that the court hearing will be within the next 6 months.
Well, it's now been 9 years, Wilson. I don't think any Pakistani has served a longer time in prison on blasphemy charges. So why is Asiya still in prison?
She is anathema. She's hated by people up and down the country simply for saying the words, "My Christ died for me. What did Muhammad do for you?" Which in any sensible person's imagination doesn't mean more than a question. She is serving the longest sentence ever known for blasphemy. Most blasphemy victims are released at high court stage. The high court judges were too fearful to release Asiya Bibi, and during their hearing they said that her conviction would remain because of technical issues. They never ever clarified what those technical issues are.
What can we do for Asiya Bibi and our Pakistani brothers and sisters in Christ who are up against these charges and face this situation every day? What can we do?
Well, firstly, we need to speak to our governments. The US government is getting more involved in the situation in Pakistan. And again, what we've got to do is trust in God. Each and every one of us must pray and pray for change, not only in the government and the way they think in Pakistan, but in the way that mass society in Pakistan operates. No longer should they see Christians as pariahs or as individuals outside the normal human sphere, if that makes sense. That's often how Christians and other minorities are viewed.
Coming up, a cross-country cycling race becomes a faith journey for two men. See how they battle extreme terrain and their inner demons on the open road.
Angels were created to serve God. These magnificent beings have awesome power beyond our comprehension.
CBN presents Angels, Their Power, Purpose, and Presence. In Pat's latest DVD, you'll get the biblical insight into these mysterious spiritual creatures and discover the important role they play in God's kingdom and in your life.
We're also going to meet real people who have come face to face with these divine creatures and have experienced what can only be described as miraculous, life-changing encounters.
As he started pulling me through, it was just a burst of white light. My thought is the angels were there to hold me together.
I knew that this was something that was happening and it was supernatural.
Angels, their power, purpose, and presence.
Call now or go to cbn.com to get your copy of Angels.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. My husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphan's Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
Jerry Schemmel is an author, speaker, and sportscaster. And Brad Cooper is an 11-time Ironman triathlete, George. Wow. Well, together, they competed for 7 days in a cycling race of more than 3,000 miles.
Oh, my goodness, that sounds intense. Well, they were so much more than just a race. It's now a movie. And Brad Cooper tells our Ephraim Graham it was also a call from God.
There's just some bad places in this race, just mentally. I don't know if it was the heat. I don't know if it was... I really burned some matches last night to try to get us ahead of that other team. And it got us ahead, but I think I may have burned a few too many because today I had nothing the whole day.
So the film is called Godspeed.
20 miles or 1 hour or so is about the max in this kind of heat.
You and a friend decide to participate in Race Across America, more than 3,000 miles. Why?
It was raining. I could not see for about 10 seconds.
We tend to get in our daily grind and we're just going through the motions, and this kind of thing can wake you up. This kind of thing you can say, why? And then you say, well, that's what life's about, is taking on these things that make you say, if I go through 5 years of just okay stuff, what do I do with those 5 years? Our whole focus was ride, eat, drink, sleep. That's the only 4 things we need to be doing.
We don't know when to eat, we don't know when to sleep.
We didn't have plans for a film. That just happened.
Which is really cool for me. And normally when I go up those mountains like that.
What happened is they came back, and Martin Butler, who did such a great job with, and you've seen all the scenery and everything else that he captures, he looked at it and said, I have 550 hours of footage. We could do something with this.
Take us inside sort of to describe the story that we will see unfold on the screen.
It's set in a bike race, but it's not really about bike racing. You see the contrast. You could not find 2 people more different outside of our faith, more different than Jerry Schemmel and myself. You see the personality differences. You see the way the team comes around us and totally supports what we're doing and gives up their lives for 7-8 days to make this thing happen.
Oh, don't worry, Jerry. It's hot. It's hot.
I tell you.
If you need anything, let me
20.
know.
It's basically about life. It's basically about those things that allow us to go beyond our comfort zone and do something different, something that stretches us.
Were there moments you wanted to give up?
Never, not once. And I think the key to that, you're super tired, you're exhausted, there's nothing left in the tank. Physiologically, you're drained by the end of day 2 and you still have 5 more days to go. But the giving up piece, I think, is part of that vision of you're constantly thinking of that finish line. I think, and this is a little bit off topic, but if in our lives we have a better sense of what is that vision, how do we see the role we're playing as a parent or as a husband or a wife or in our job, when we're clear on that vision, we stop wanting to give up.
I had no idea where I was going or what was around me, and I was going 40 miles an hour. And I thought, what in the world am I doing here?
I think God's always using what you're doing now for something next. And He sees the next, we don't. We want to connect the dots. He wants us to put the dots on the page and let Him connect them. And I think what I learned is doing this or doing Ironmans or whatever, it's preparing me for something else.
I feel like God called you to this.
I really do. I really do. the impact we hope the film has is really exciting. People who have seen it are talking about it made me want to do something more with my life. I watched it, and even though I don't like biking, I don't like cycling, it made me think of something I want to do with my work, where I want to stretch outside of my comfort zone, or it made me think about, you know what, I am going to stop smoking, or I am going to drop that 10 pounds. So that's exciting, and then spiritually you can see the faith component throughout the race. And if that charges people up and helps them say, you know what, maybe God has something bigger planned for me than just going through the motions every day, that could be the why.
And as somebody who has endured adventure climbing Mount Kilimanjaro,
yes,
you can identify with these folks as
I
they
totally get it. I
go
get
to
what
these various places.
What drove them, and I get that God was with them, and
Yes.
you know, it's a great God adventure. You should try it one time. You were born in the country that is home to Kilimanjaro.
That's right. Maybe not soon.
I can't get him to do it. All right, well, coming up, see how new technology is uncovering new mysteries inside the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Parents, the Superbook Bible app is a great way to get your child reading the Bible, because in today's busy world, we can use some help. The free Superbook Bible app has fun stuff your kids will love. They'll have a blast learning the Bible, playing great games, watching cool videos, discovering heroes in the Bible. They'll have fun while they learn God's Word. The Superbook Kids Bible app, available now.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
What's your emergency? We have a vehicle that is upside down and on fire. These people are trapped, and we need the jaws of life.
My feet were on fire. The car was filling up with smoke.
There was fire coming in through my left door. The steering wheel was stuck in my chest. I couldn't move.
The seatbelt, I kept trying to release it, but it wouldn't release.
And I just screamed, God, send your angels now.
I saw a set of just white hands. It was just a burst of white light.
And welcome back to Christian World News. Paraguay became the third country to move its embassy to Jerusalem this week. Paraguayan President Horacio Cartes came for the dedication. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised the decades of friendship between Israel and Paraguay. And he said Israel would never forget Paraguay's help saving Jews from Nazi Germany and the Holocaust.
Paraguay supported the creation of the State of Israel, the recognition of the State of Israel in the United Nations. We will never forget that. Paraguay, before but especially under your leadership, took a very bold stance in international affairs and refused to cooperate with the lies directed against Israel. We always remember that. Thank you, Horacio. Thank you. And thank you, Paraguay.
And Netanyahu is also thanking the United States and Guatemala. They were the first and second to move their embassies to Israel. Honduras is likely to follow Paraguay.
Well, it's 70 years since Bedouin shepherds and archaeologists discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls. And as CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell reports, experts are still learning from that historic discovery.
While this may look like a box of garbage, it's truly part of an ancient treasure.
In our storeroom, we have a lot of
boxes with fragments that, as far as I could tell, had never been sorted, had never been investigated.
Orrin Abelman of the Israel Antiquities Authority found it during work to digitize and publish the Dead Sea Scrolls.
It looked like it was garbage. It didn't look like there was anything here. You couldn't really see anything with your own eyes.
This is the lab where experts examine fragments from the Dead Sea Scrolls discovered 70 years ago. Standing here is like hearing the echoes of Bible times from 2,000 years ago.
I worked on comparing the handwriting on these fragments that I found to other manuscripts. I very quickly started finding matches between the handwriting of the scribes.
Abelman used advanced imaging technology to take another look at 82 fragments he couldn't read before. 12 had enough text to work with.
Probably the best example that I had is this fragment here, where the word that I read there is zamra in Hebrew, which means a song. Based on the handwriting of the scribe, I could tell that this fragment belonged to what's called the Great Psalm Scroll.
Another fragment indicated an additional scroll might exist. Panina Shore heads up the Dead Sea Scrolls unit. She sees a special connection between the scrolls and Israel's 70th birthday.
On the eve of the 29th of November, when they were voting at the UN for the partition plan, the son of Professor Sukenik was counting the votes on the radio while Professor Sukenik was sitting at the desk with one of the first scrolls, it was Hodayot scrolls, and realized that he was holding a scroll from Second Temple times. And he said, what could be more symbolic than, as we're voting for the creation of the new state of Israel, to hold in my hands a manuscript 2,000 years old.
70 years later, the Dead Sea Scrolls are still revealing new facts from their ancient past. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, the Dead Sea Scrolls Lab in Jerusalem.
Pretty wild. For more fascinating stories like these, go to our website, cbnnews.com. Don't go away. We'll be back right after this.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes and Google Play now.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. My husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphan's Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
When you give, smiles grow bigger. When you care, homes are happier. When you comfort, the hurt goes away. When we all come together to love, miracles happen.
Well, it's been recorded hundreds of times by Christian artists and pop stars alike. No matter who you are, you've probably heard the Christian hymn, Amazing Grace.
My colleague Amber Strong takes you inside a unique exhibit dedicated to the man behind the song.
No matter the rendition or artist, that tune and those lyrics are easily recognizable.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. You know, churches all over the country will be singing this song on Sunday. And while you may know the song, do you really know the man behind the lyrics?
John Newton is a pretty amazing story.
Eilena Madrasso of DC's Museum of the Bible says behind the hopeful tune lies a dark story.
He lived a pretty crazy life. He was pretty rebellious.
That was until one night in 1748, when the longtime sailor had a near-death experience at sea.
It was in those moments that he actually started to understand how precious life is, and the decisions that he had made were really just not a good way to live his life.
Although he gave his life to Christ, Newton became a slave ship captain, a practice generally accepted at the time by Christians and much of society.
It was during those times, though, that he actually started to think differently about humanity.
After a health crisis, Newton left the ships, but not his involvement with slavery. It's something he would wrestle with for many years. He eventually joined the Church of England and began writing songs.
He wrote quite a few with another hymn writer, William Cowper, and they collected them together in the only hymn book. And that's where we actually see the hymn, Amazing Grace, recorded for the first time in print.
Newton once said his heart shuddered over his time with slavery.
I think of the first part, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. It's reflective of, in Romans, the book of Romans, where it says, wretched man that I am, in Romans chapter 7. And he knew that about himself.
While the words only resonated with a few at the time, they spoke loudly to his friend, abolitionist William Wilberforce. Newton's confession to Wilberforce, as portrayed in the 2006 film Amazing Grace, changed the course of history.
I wish I could remember all their names. My 20,000 ghosts, they all had names. Beautiful African names.
After Newton's encouragement, Wilberforce would successfully push for the end of England's slave trade in 1807.
You must use it. Names, ship's records, ports, people. Everything I remember is in here. Although my memory is fading, I remember two things very clearly. I'm a great sinner and Christ is a great Savior.
And then the song took off. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement, to secretaries of state, and even a former U.S. president. Its message of hope in the face of sorrow remains steadfast. So much so, artists like Judy Collins and Aretha Franklin have all put their spin on it. Each version was part of a special display here at the museum.
It's pretty neat to actually look at all the different album covers where you have different colorings and designs, graphic design that speak to each of the genres and each of the artists.
Madrasso says the idea of grace and hope is something that resonates across genres, culture, and time. Amber Strong, CBN News at the Museum of the Bible.
Thank you, Amber. All these years later, that song reverberating around the world.
It will go on. It's timeless.
It is.
Like you.
Like you. Folks, that is it for this week.
Until next week, from all of us here, goodbye and God bless you.